Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Mila.
So we'll start from the very beginning. Looking back, ma'am, what were one or two very pivotal moments during your own school or college life that shaped you?
I think from school I was given the task of being the monitor very often.
Okay.
And I found that the monitor is normally a very disliked person because they start writing your name on
Yeah,
the board
yeah.
and when the teacher will come, she's going to scream. So I didn't really like, because they were all my friends. I had a lot of friends in class. I didn't want to write names, so I would tell them, I said, don't force me to do something which I don't want to do, which will get you in trouble. And that somehow worked. I said, do what you want to do, na? So that little element of leadership, maybe, of collaboration, of people skills, I think I had it in school. So maybe it shaped the way I went through life. I've never complained about anybody as a policy.
Okay.
Always try to negotiate and see, let's make things better. Why go and report? Why have this whole drama? So
That's a very important quality in leadership.
yes, I have never to this day complained about anybody. Ever. It's been 40 years. It will be 40 years in September. So I have had problems. I must admit, I've had some very difficult colleagues. I've had some very jealous colleagues. But I tried earlier to ignore it, but sometimes when it can't be ignored, then I've gotten interested on mine without taking it to someone. I felt I should be able to handle it.
Ma'am, as you said, it's been 40 years in education.
Yeah, in
Right?
education.
You have seen generations of students evolve,
Absolutely.
right? Ma'am, what are some fundamental things that you see have changed in learners today, both positively and negatively?
Well, positively, I will definitely say that today's generation is much more involved, much more aware.
Okay.
I think when we were in school, we were pretty much unaware of what's happening. Little cocoon, and my cocoon is fine, so all is well. As things evolved, I found children becoming more aware, more conscious of the time on earth. We were, I think as a generation, we were pretty cool about it. Itna kar liya, bahut hai. There was no aspiration. Then I saw generation becoming more aspirational. This much time, what all can we do? So I'm doing academic, that's an essential. Should I also get into MUN? Should I do some sport? Should I do music, dance, art, something else? I think pandemic was a bit of a blip which messed everybody's social, professional life. So I found post-pandemic a lot of changes in children in the sense of a little bit of isolation, the awkwardness of coming face to face. So they maybe had 1,000 friends online, but they were all nameless, faceless friends. We don't know who they were. It would have been a 40-year-old pretending to be 16. So when they came back, there was this whole, you were in school that time, there was this whole period of just getting kids to chill and relax and enjoy, so music, kar lo, dance, kar lo. I had this thing that, padhai ho jayega. Let's not get too intense with the padhai bit because it's going to affect their minds a little bit more. So I find today's generation is still coming to terms with the reality. I see a lot of children, the 6 year ago pass out and the pass out now.
Okay.
So I'm hopeful that in the next year or two, whatever remnant, whatever residue there was of the pandemic will go out. There is a residue, definitely.
But now the children who come into high school, mom, do you try to make them like it was before?
I don't think we'll ever go back to how it was before, but I do keep telling that, that there was a generation that used to stay back 3 times a week and there was hardly any absence. But now the absenteeism is so high, and getting children to come to school is a challenge. Parents are also struggling, so are we. And partly it's because वो जो एक पैटर्न बन गया था ना, very comfortable pattern. You can sleep late, you can watch Netflix. ठीक है, 9 बजे class है. I can wake up at 10 to 9 and jump into just a shirt and wear pajamas and attend the class. So that you get used to good things. Everybody gets used to good things. Nobody says I got used to washing utensils, so I will not keep a maid. That you've forgotten. But the comfortable part, I think a lot of children are still struggling with, and I hope they'll snap out of it. They realize that this is not what life is. Life is not Netflix.
Yeah. But in your experience, what distinguishes students who thrive, not just academically but in life?
Thank you. That's a very good question. And if I were to take a leaf out of maybe your batch, all of you who were high achievers and who had posts and all, I don't think you were very deeply involved in social media.
Yeah.
You were there, but like on the periphery and on the surface. You didn't go very deep in, and that's where I see a differentiator. And what I like about all children in general, my children in particular in the school, they're very honest.
Okay.
So when I have a conversation with them, what's happening? Why are you getting such low marks? He says, ma'am, when I pick up my phone, I don't realize that I spent 2.5 hours. I thought it was just 10 minutes. So they're sucked into it. It's like a vortex. Which is just, from Insta, you go to some meme, then you go to a film, then you go to YouTube, then you come back to, I don't think anybody's on Facebook. It's all for old people now, I believe. But you just get into one into the other, and it's so seamless. And I don't know if it's AI at work or what is thrown up at you,
The algorithm is made such way that
whatever you're looking at keeps coming up. And then you are drawn to it and you don't realize suddenly 2 hours have gone. So that's the one differentiator. Children who are able to balance, who do not let the phone overtake their life. And I'm not a child, but I have not let the phone take over my life. I use the phone only as a means of communication, for calling, for messaging, for making a, writing a mail, nothing more. I'm hardly on Instagram or on LinkedIn. I just go whenever I really have to do something, and that's it.
There is just one thing I always tell juniors who ask for advice, that if you're on social media, always be a creator, not a consumer.
Very good. That's a very good piece of advice.
Like this, I'm doing this podcast, so I'm creating something and I'm putting knowledge out there instead of consuming with something that's not
which is already available.
And that's not going to add something important to my life.
Absolutely.
Right? You learn a lot of things creating stuff.
I agree with you.
What's the biggest misconception students have about success, you think?
When they mistake success to be money.
Okay.
A lot of them have equated success to money, big house, big car. I have a totally different view. I said I think success is happiness because it's more permanent. Money is here today, gone tomorrow. And what is happiness? That's also very elusive. So do what makes you happy and which will hopefully sustain you to a decent lifestyle. I have not known people living in mansions to be necessarily very happy, and I've seen people with very meager, mediocre, material things who are ecstatic about life. So I have, for example, when I became principal first, I was asked what car you want. I just looked flummoxed because I don't know the names of many cars. I said, I have no idea, something that will bring me from home to here. So I don't think my position or anybody's position should decide where they live, where they eat, what they wear. Do what you like, it will bring you happiness.
And there's a lot of talk about discipline and consistency, especially in school life. So from a principal's perspective, how should students build these qualities meaningfully?
For this, I need the help of parents. I've always seen parents as partners. So discipline, I've always also see that when I was a kid, when my kids were growing up, discipline, values, skills came from home. The school essentially did the academic bit and built on some of these skills. Somehow today it's supposed to be the school's responsibility and it's a little mismatched. So discipline is not just turning up on time, but being there for the moment. Training your mind to be there. You could be doing something which you don't really enjoy too much. So first review that, especially in the 11th and 12th. Don't do something which has been told to you by a peer or by a cousin or by your parents. Do what you want to do. It's going to eventually make you do well, and when you do well, you will obviously be happy. That element of happiness is completely in your hands, what you wish to do with it.
I think it extends to a video I was seeing of yours where the topic was if parents become friends to students, who will parent them. I was amazed by it because I think early on in life, when in the formative years, parents tend to become friends, then
they bring in the discipline.
Then they bring in the discipline. Then children can't decide. What's happening? Should I tell this to them or should I not tell this to them? Will I get scolded? Will I not get scolded? So I think especially in those formative years, it's very important to
be a parent.
Also,
you can be a friendly parent. In the sense, the child should be able to come and tell you everything. I had that relationship with both my parents. I could tell them everything and anything, and I would in fact tell them from the first period what happened till the last. My own 2 children did the same, always. I knew everything. I knew their friends' names. I knew what happened. So that bridge should be there. In the course of a life, we will have 1,000 friends. But only one mom and one dad. It's a very special place.
And ma'am, how important do you think is balancing extracurriculars with academics? Because
very important.
Do you think focusing just on marks will backfire somehow?
It may not backfire, but it will certainly not make you a very happy person. Marks are momentary happiness, and then when there is stress, you can't look at your marks and feel happy. But if you are stressed and you get up and do a dance or you sing a song which you like, it lifts your mood immediately. So after a very stressful day, the first thing I do on entering my house is music. It really uplifts me. If there's any stress, I need to have that. For somebody it could be sport, for someone it could be reading, music, dance, enacting something, meeting friends. There's so many things you can do, which somehow social media is taking over. So children who are very attached to their device have just that one friend, which is a very moody friend, and may not help them thrive the way we want them to thrive. It keeps them away from society, it keeps them away from friends, it keeps them away from reality, because there's one bubble over there where you're just going on churning out some visual stimulus which may be messing with your mind for all I know.
Anand, what do you think is the true purpose of school education? Beyond marks, beyond board exams?
You won't laugh if I tell you this.
Yeah, sure.
So somebody else asked me this, one of my friend's sons, what is the real purpose of school? I said, to learn to get up, get ready and show up.
I agree. Very
You're going to do that through your life. When you have a job or if you have a startup, you have to get up and show up. If you have a startup and you arrive in your night shift, you're going to give that message to everybody कि night shift type place है, chill करो, सो जाओ.
Yeah.
So that essential discipline of getting up on time, getting ready, looking presentable and reaching there, you could be in a bad mood, you could be sad, but you have a smile because you have something to be grateful for. That is the essential purpose. Everything else is incidental, will happen. Academics will happen, sports will happen, music, dance, reading, making friends, fighting with friends, making up with them again. All that will happen. But essentially, get up and show up.
There was this article I was reading that up until college, it's a different life. But when you get into work, you will have to start from zero and learn work. So the whole point of school and college is not to get a degree out of it, but to show the companies that I got up for 4 years every morning and I showed up, I have the commitment.
Absolutely.
That's why they're hiring you.
Absolutely.
And they know that, okay, if we teach him or her how to work,
the skills,
this he will learn. That's the point of school.
Absolutely. I have always believed that.
And ma'am, this is, over the years, I think students are not understanding this, especially because leaving after school after 10th grade, it's a very big norm nowadays. And I think missing out on the whole high school experience is such...
It's so damaging at one level, you know, because I've also told parents, those of them who came to ask me that ma'am, dummy school mein dal dein. I said, no, dummy school is perfect for dummies. Dummy banana to dal do. But if you want him or her to have a normal childhood, a normal life, please let them come to school. It will not work otherwise.
The personality, interpersonal relationships, social...
All these skills, if we talk about it, they're not just words. Collaboration is the key. Nobody's looking for individual players. You want to work in a team. Nobody's looking for, you know, I can think for myself. How are you thinking in a group? Are you looking at everybody being uplifted or not? I should be lifted and the rest can go to hell. It doesn't work that way.
And me and Praveen were talking about this, that being in those leadership roles we had, it helped us so much to grow individually and as a team. Because...
and helping the other. You know, this whole thing of othering also, getting them on board. Somebody who's not thinking the right way, you know, just putting your arm around and saying, come on, think, look, how's going to help you.
Because we used to have so many fights among us, we had so many disagreements, but when we were out there in front of your room, we all knew that when we go in, we are all a unit. And we don't...
Very differences and put
we can't look disintegrated in front of ma'am, right? We are a team. But going out, we had a lot of fights. So I think it taught us a lot about being there for others, being there as a team. But talking about leadership, what you have mentored so many of student leaders in the past 40 years. What qualities do you look for in someone who's aspiring to be a leader?
The first quality should be empathy.
Okay.
First. If he or she is too much of a I, me, myself person, then not right for the role. And I think the second is communication. How they speak. I can't have people being rude or, you know, bossy. And I've never had that. And in cases where it did happen, I think either they were sort of chiseled into place and they changed. Or in some cases, they had to be asked to leave because it doesn't work. Today's generation, nobody wants a boss. You need to have someone, you know, you're here in a senior role, but come on, take everyone together. It's not about only me that I'm the head boy and I'm the editor, I'm going to do it my way. It doesn't work.
When people come to me for advice, I tell them just be confident. Even if you are saying something totally obnoxious, totally wrong, which the teacher doesn't agree with, if you say it with confidence that yes, even if it's wrong, I believe in it completely, then that's gonna have a very big impact on...
somebody will listen.
Yeah, somebody will listen. But ma'am, have you seen any effect of these leadership roles on personality versus the students who just focus on academics?
Certainly, because, you know, children who take leadership roles are thrown into very diverse situations and sometimes very tricky situations. And sometimes as a mother and as a teacher and as somebody who was a student years ago, I really wonder that how will they deal with this, and I hope it doesn't ruin their relationships and their friendships. And the fact that they've been able to negotiate a peaceful solution speaks a lot. And somebody who's only been studying, okay, that was their journey, they wanted to do just that. So, but there will be that one element of leadership, of taking charge, of collaboration, which is one missing in their personality. It may come up later. You know, they will realize if they have, you know, they were cracking some higher education institution, maybe they'll develop it there, maybe they'll develop it at workspace. Because I also believe everybody has it. I have this very strange notion, everybody has everything. When you wish to take out which skill is up to you. Some may take it out at age 4, some at 40, some at 40. What is there? Niklega. The ones who take it out in school have that advantage because they have that much of gestation period and so much to learn and tell others. I had this situation and I worked it out and I negotiated a peace. Great.
And I'm being tenacious. Not
Absolutely,
giving up on
not
something.
giving up. You can't give up as a leader.
But that's a quality we get for life. Persistence, yeah. But ma'am, I think there's so much of pressure on students nowadays to perform and to be perfect in every aspect, have their career figured out in 11th and 12th. Ma'am, what advice do you have for students feeling burnt out, and especially due to comparison with other people?
So I go back to my first, I mentioned this earlier, do what you really like to do.
Okay.
And don't compare. Everybody is unique, everybody is different, everybody has their own special X factor which is going to come out. The moment you do something which you don't really want to do, you will not do a very good job. Okay. And that's right through life. Whether you are 18 or 80, nobody likes to do something that they don't want to do. Something you do out of societal pressure. Yeah. करना ही done thing है. But something that you said मैं तो ये नहीं करूँगी, ये मैं नहीं करूँगा, and if you're forced to do, you will eventually feel that pressure, and that pressure brings the burnout. And comparisons are odious. Nobody should get into it because everybody is unique. Yeah. Why should I have never compared myself as a school or as an individual. My competition was with myself. Whatever I did last year, I will do something different this year. As a person, as a principal, and as a school. But I have never wanted to do something which somebody else was doing. I've been inspired, maybe. That this is a great idea. Maybe we can try something like this. But I have never compared and felt bad. They have this, I don't have it, and they have that, and I don't have it. I'm happy with what I have.
And how can people deal with failures, especially when the entire system is so achievement based?
So for that, always my message is that failure is an event, not a person.
Okay, yeah.
There's a failure. Analyze why it happened. Get the answer. If it is something, the way you did something wrong, correct it. If it's the environment, you can't change the environment completely. Then change your tactic of how you're going to do it. But, and also, I think deal with the fact that you will not have success every time. Who says there will be success every time? There will be failures. Deal with it. It doesn't matter. Okay, doesn't matter. It's an event. Learn from the event. Move on.
Ma'am, do you think the fear of judgment from peers, teachers, parents holds back students from being authentic?
Perhaps, maybe, because again, if you are dealing, judgment comes from where? When somebody feels you're not reaching your full potential. Yeah. So whether it's a parent or a teacher, it's our job to sort of help you reach where you need to reach. Eventually, it's that. So a teacher teaching a class of 35, she knows out of this 35 there will be 10 who do really well, who are listening, who are going to be working hard. There will be 15 who sort of work and see eventually they'll do it. There will be 10 who will not work. And it's her job to now push those 10 to at least reach the minimum level of learning. There is something called minimum level of learning. If she was to focus only on those 10, she will be a basket case in 10 days. So then she feel like a failure. I don't know how to teach. तो fail हो गए. मैंने कुछ गड़बड़ किया होगा. It's not that. So analyze reason for failure. Analyze what is moving you on. And I think stay motivated. That motivation cannot flag. If that motivation flagging, that means that something's not okay and maybe you need a break, maybe you need to give up whatever you're doing and review.
I think that's where discipline comes into play. Because motivation can't stay lifelong. You can't have motivation for everything every day. But I think if you're disciplined, you will show up.
You will show up.
And ma'am, on the thing that you said, 10 students will not be able to do it. There was this movie I was seeing. Tell me if you agree with the concept. But the concept of the movie was a good teacher is the one who can make bad students who are not good at academics study well. Because the students who are already good at academics will anyway do better no matter what you do. But the people who don't get marks in academics, who are not on par with their careers and marks, if a teacher can motivate them to study, then that's a good teacher.
I agree with that completely. But honestly, I'm going to say something which teachers may not like. Not everybody who starts teaching really wanted to do it.
Okay.
Out of 100 teachers that I see, maybe 25 were passionate about teaching and knew that this is where I want to be. 75 have come in either because there was nothing else, or it was a challenge to manage family with a corporate job. So I want to come to school. So the will is there. But also remember that somebody who's coming to teach is getting up to teach somebody else's kids. She's getting up at 5 o'clock to teach somebody else's children. How many want to do that? And the salaries are not very good, honestly. It's a decent salary, but it's not a great salary. So nobody who's aspirational can hope to become a teacher and then have a decent life and live independently and build a house. वो नहीं हो पाएगा. So that gap, the day it's removed, maybe we'll have much better teachers. Maybe people who go for corporates are great teachers, but they don't come into it only because of the financial gap.
And ma'am, I think teaching is a whole different skill.
Absolutely.
Because I have seen so many people who are very knowledgeable, they have the knowledge, but they can work with it, they cannot impart it to others. So I think that's where teaching comes in. That's a totally different skill, imparting your knowledge to the next generation.
People who may not be wanting to listen to you. That also.
I'm talking about future careers with AI, new industries and global changes. How should students today prepare differently for the future compared to earlier generations?
Nothing has to be done differently.
Okay.
So a lot of people ask me that we are teaching children, we don't even know what the future holds, we don't know what jobs will be there. So and I've been saying this for a decade now, I want my children to be ready to face change.
Okay.
If a child is upset about a section change or about a class teacher change, there's a problem there. Okay. Because change is constant, that's the only constant in our life. So if my child is able to deal with change, they will deal with any difference that comes in the academic field, in the workforce field, in professionally, in technology, you will face it.
Okay.
The generation before ours and our generation has seen so many changes. All we were taught was change will happen, deal with it.
Yeah.
Some change was good, some was bad.
Change is the constant.
Change is the constant, be ready for it.
Yeah.
And we don't walk, okay, now what will happen? The world will come to an end. World will not end. World will carry on, you deal with it.
Yeah.
And keep an open mind. Whatever changes come, if it's good, then adapt to it. If it's not good, see how you can make it work for you. Whatever be the change. I mean, the phone is one example. Who wanted a phone all the time? I mean, earlier there were only landline. People, if they wanted work, they had to contact me. If I'm out watching a movie, I'm watching a movie. Ab a movie ke beech mein phone bach jata. If you can't take it, then it's a problem.
Ma'am, with college admissions becoming more and more competitive nowadays, what's something that matters more than marks in aspect to college admissions?
What you asked me earlier, how important is it to have a serious hobby?
Okay.
Your hobby comes in place over here. So hobby should not be just something I do anyway. Some degree of expertise. So you have ECA seats.
Yeah.
Whether you're a dancer or a singer or even a debater or in sports, you have it going for you. So be able to balance. Either do very well academically, nobody can say no to you. But always have that backup. That backup is not just as a backup for college admission, it's to keep you happy. Whatever is that hobby that gives you that little extra fillip, that extra thing that okay, I'm ready for it. Keeps you going. It's very important.
And ma'am, if you could leave today's students with one golden piece of advice or one philosophy for life, what would it be?
Always choose to be happy. And when you are looking for happiness, it should not be happiness for yourself, but not a selfish happiness. You know, that happiness which is going to be sort of infectious for others. So choose the right subject, choose the right group, choose the right action at home and at school. I think success is something, a mixture of all of this coming together. When you get a smile back, for me that is success. I see somebody crying, you start feeling low. So that smile on your face should be able to get many more people to smile.
Okay. And ma'am, one piece of advice for the parents, what should they do right to support their children?
Give them time, most important. Today's parent is so caught up with this rat race. We are not rats. Don't be in a rat race. Have that choice of having some time for your child. I'm told parents are bringing phones to the table. There's no conversation. I've seen with my own eyes in a restaurant. People are all 4 people sitting and all on their phones. I've almost wanted to walk up to them and take away their phones. First, talk to each other. You come out for dinner. So have conversations. Know your child well. Build that bond. The bond cannot only be one of discipline. It has to be one of love, respect, and understanding.
That's true. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for doing this.